welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to take you along for a what's for dinner video. This video has been highly requested. So many of you have been asking for more dinner ideas and recipes, so this one's for you if you have been asking for that. And I've got 5 dinner ideas for you today that are so delicious. I mean, if I say so myself, but I really enjoyed these this week, and my husband really loved them too, and my son too, some of them, because he's quite a fussy eater, but you know, he really liked some of these. And just a bit of a disclaimer, I did have a lot of help this week because my son Victor, he's been for some reason this past week or so, he's been so into helping me in the kitchen, which I really love, but at the same time it's a bit challenging, I'm not gonna lie, because I was trying to film and you know, doing it together and trying to, you know, not have him cut his finger off or something like that. So yeah, you will see him in some of these clips because he's just been here helping me. He just puts his chair right up there and then he just sits and does everything. He wants to do everything himself. He's so cute. I have no idea where this came from, like this desire to really help in the kitchen. He usually did some things here and there, but not this intense. I feel like he's been really into it. My husband Levi and I have this joke that he's gonna grow up and be this chef in London, so can't wait for that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the dinner ideas, and I hope you guys really like this. Give it a thumbs up if you do, and let's see all the dinner recipes. This first recipe is a classic meatball and spaghetti one, so I'm just using spaghetti, onion, garlic, some mature cheddar, Parmesan cheese. I've got my seasoning, breadcrumbs, I've got some parsley, I also got here some tomato passata that I'm going to use, and some celery sticks, an egg, a carrot, and I've got some pork mince for the recipe as well. I will try to link the recipes in the description box for most of these, or you can just screenshot the recipe here if you'd like. But I am going to start by chopping up the onion, and I'm going to add all of these ingredients to a bowl where I'm going to kind of form the meatballs. I'm also going to grate the carrot and put it in there. And just in case you noticed the phone here, we were just having a chat with my mom on the phone. I'm just going to add the carrot to the mixture. I'm adding the garlic, and then we're also going to grate the celery sticks and add them in there as well. Next up, I'm adding the breadcrumbs. We're also going to add a tiny bit of parsley in there, the meat, and then the egg as well, and just kind of mix it really, really well. Victor really loved putting the seasoning in, so we added a bit of salt and pepper in there too. Next up, I'm just heating a bit of oil in a pan, and I'm going to cook all of the meatballs in there. I'm actually using half of the meatballs for this recipe, and then half of them I'm just keeping them as leftovers for the next day. So on these meatballs, I'm going to add the tomato passata. And I'm also boiling the spaghetti on the side, and that is pretty much it. I'm just going to kind of simmer the tomato sauce for a little bit, and then it's pretty much ready to go. So I'm just going to add the sauce on top of the spaghetti, and I'm going to plate it, and I'm going to finish up with the Parmesan cheese or the cheddar cheese if you prefer. That's what I used for my son because he prefers the cheddar cheese. It's such a simple recipe and really quick to make, and so delicious. So now my next one is going to be a Waldorf style salad. For this one, I'm going to use some chicken breast. I've got some bacon bits, and then I'm also using spring onion, lettuce, green beans, an apple, some walnuts, and then also potatoes as well. Then I've got whole grain mustard, some mayonnaise, and I've got salt, pepper, and olive oil too. So I'm going to start by chopping up the potatoes, and I'm just going to put these to boil first. I'm also chopping the green beans, and these are going to go in the same pot with the potatoes. I will leave the potatoes to boil for about 20 minutes, and in the last 5 minutes of them boiling, I'm going to add the green beans on top there as well. Then I'm going to start cooking the meat, so that's the bacon first, and then I'm going to add the chicken on top a bit later. Then Victor and I started working on the salad, so we're just making the dressing, and I'm using some whole grain mustard here and then a bit of mayo as well. We're also going to season this with a bit of salt and pepper and give it a really good mix. I'm going to chop up the things for the salad as well. So we've got the lettuce here, and I'm also going to chop the apple as finely as I can. and the spring onion as well. So we're just adding all of those in this bowl. And then once the potatoes are all cooked, I'm going to add those on top of this salad in this bowl, and we're adding the whole grain mustard sauce on top of it. Next, we're going to split this into all of our plates, and then we're adding finally the chicken and bacon on top of that. And I forgot to add these, but you're also supposed to add a bit of walnuts on there as well. And that's the Waldorf style salad done. It's such a good one. My husband really loves this one as well. So yeah, such a good recipe if you want to give it a try. Next up, we're making a lasagna. So what I'm going to need for this, I was actually supposed to make this with turkey mince, but they substituted for chicken, that's fine. I'm just going to use that. Then we've got red onion, celery, carrot, and some garlic cloves as well. I've also got some lasagna sheets. I've got red wine stock pots. I've got all kinds of cheese, a white lasagna sauce, the tomato passata, and I've also got salt, pepper, and oil as well. So I'm going to start by cooking up the mushrooms, which I forgot to mention. So I had some mushrooms that I wanted to use up in this recipe. And then I'm also going to chop up all of the veggies. I'm just chopping them kind of roughly because I'm going to put them in a blender anyway.
AAA credits are right. Hang up the phone and let your heart break on the NLA 24 twice.
Once the mushrooms are done, I'm just going to take them out of the pan and I'm going to put in there the chicken meat instead to cook. I've also seasoned the chicken meat with some salt and pepper. And then once that's kind of cooked and I've crumbled it all up, I'm going to add all of the chopped veggies on top too. I'm adding back the mushrooms here, and then also I've added a bit of Italian seasoning. I just felt like it would give a bit more flavor, so this is just some Italian herbs that I had. And then I'm adding the tomato passata and the red wine stock pot as well. I'm going to season, salt and pepper, and then just give it a good mix and let it simmer for a little while.
She's on the phone, but she's staying on Wilshire Boulevard. Old dreams dying hard. You want you to return this love.
And it's time for me to assemble the lasagna. So I'm starting with a light layer of the tomato sauce. Then I'm putting a layer of the lasagna sheets. I'm adding the white sauce, then the tomato sauce. And I just keep doing this over and over again until I've finished all of my layers. I'm also adding a little bit of cheese in kind of the middle layer of it as well. And then the rest of the cheese I'm just adding on top at the end.
Breathing in the dark, weightless, working hard. We want you to return his love. Now he's bleeding, diamonds on you. But that ain't enough to turn the page. He's kneeling, wants to feel known. But he's not the one who pulls away. That ain't enough to turn the page. Leash is off, suit is on point. Won't cause a scene or stir up no clash on second thought. Venice by fourth. She's on the job, but she's staying on Wilshire Boulevard. Old dreams dying hard. He wants you to return his love. Breathing in the dark, weightless, working hard. He wants you to return his love. Now he's bleeding, diamonds on you. But that ain't enough to turn the page. He's kneeling, wants to feel
So this will go in the oven for about 20 minutes. And then that's my lasagna done. It's such a good recipe, and I think this was actually my best lasagna that I've ever made, if I do say so myself. My husband also agreed. He said it was the best one I've ever made. So if you try one recipe from this video, I highly recommend you try this one. Next up, we're doing a fish finger katsu curry. So for this recipe, I'm just going to use some fish fingers. I'm going to need some red onion, garlic, carrot, some green beans, and then I've also got a vegetable stock pot here. I'm going to use a tiny bit of flour. I've got some basmati rice, some very lazy ginger here, some coriander, some medium curry spice, or you can use mild one, some salt and pepper, and a bit of olive oil as well. So I'm going to start by putting the fish fingers in the oven to cook. So these go for about 20 minutes, but you can just go by the instructions on the package. And I'm going to start by chopping up the veggies in the meantime. So these are going to go in the blender at the end, so you don't need to worry too much about the size. So I'm chopping the onion, the carrot, and I'm just adding them to this pan. Next up, I'm adding the garlic, which I've also chopped up, and the ginger as well. After they've kind of softened up a bit, I'm going to add the curry, and then I'm also adding a tiny bit of flour in here and just giving it a good mix. And I find that this way it blends really nicely into the sauce, so it doesn't really clump up. And then I'm going to add the stock, which I've made into 250 milliliters of water.
Yeah, I should have known.
So now I've got the green beans cooking, the rice cooking, and then also the sauce as well. Once my sauce has kind of simmered for about 5 to 10 minutes and it's all nice and kind of thickened up, I'm going to blend it with this hand mixer that I have. And then I'm also going to season it at the end with a bit of salt and pepper. And then I'm just going to plate it all up. So it's really quick and easy. I'm just putting the rice, then I'm adding the green beans, the fish fingers, and then the sauce on top. So that's it. That's such a good recipe. It was such an interesting one. And we actually didn't use up all of the curry sauce on this recipe. So it says that you can actually freeze the rest of it, which I have done. So I just put the rest in the freezer to have another evening. Next up, we're doing some halloumi wraps, which were also really delicious. So I'm going to need for this some harissa seasoning, salt, pepper, olive oil. I've got some potatoes, sweet corn, red pepper, and a courgette as well. Also got some lettuce here on the side, some mini wraps, the halloumi obviously, and then some creme fraiche as well. I'm starting by chopping up the potatoes, and these are going to go in the oven for about 30 minutes, and I'm just seasoning them with salt, pepper, and some olive oil as well.
Maybe I never knew what I really wanted, but looking back I can see it's all clear.
Then I'm chopping up the red pepper, the courgette, and these are all going to go in the same pan with the corn. I'm adding a bit of olive oil on these and some salt and pepper, and these are going to just cook for a while until they soften up. And then on the side of these, you can see I'm warming up the tortilla wraps in the meantime. Then I'm going to slice up the halloumi here, and this I'm going to cook for about 10 minutes, I would say, until it's, kind of nicely cooked on both sides.
I'm still a kid trying to act like they all taught me, but nothing makes sense anymore.
And then you're supposed to add the harissa seasoning on the halloumi before you cook it. I added it after because I know it can be a little bit spicy sometimes, so I didn't want it to get on Victor's ones because he doesn't like that. So I'm just adding it here at the end. And then I'm going to start assembling the wraps. So I'm putting the creme fraiche on the wraps, then I'm adding the lettuce, I'm adding the veggies, and then the halloumi on top as well. And that's the wrap done, and obviously I'm going to serve it with potatoes on the side. So that's it for this dinner. It was so delicious as well. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments below which recipe you are going to try from this video. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys!